Alrighty, it is January 12th, which means we are talking about the reading from January 11th, which was Genesis 30:25 through Genesis 31. You see, I'm in a different kind of place today. I'm actually on a little solo vacation, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. So let's go ahead and talk about January 11th. Reading. So in these chapters, we see primarily Jacob and Laban and their interactions. We know at this point that Jacob has married Laban's daughters and has made Laban super wealthy. And Laban is blessed because of Jacob. And the immediate takeaway from that, of course, is when we're trucking with the Lord, when we're pursuing the Lord, which just means we're reading our Bible, we're trying to get to know him by praying and seeking him out through prayer and his word and maybe even church, that when we're doing that, that affects the people around us. That affects the people who live in our house, because God starts to produce this fruit in us, and then that kind of rolls off of us onto other people. We also see here that, Jacob has gotten to a point where he said, okay, I've been working for you, Laban, for years. I need to provide for my family. And so they get into this negotiation. And we could begin to see Jacob's character, his new kind of more honest character emerging here, because he says, I'll even take the speckled, the striped, the dark sheep. Those were more rare. So, he was potentially, taking a risk. He was taking a risk. He was taking a risk because it was more rare for those types of sheep to be produced. And so, of course, Laban is like, yeah, of course, I'm going to do that. And so they agree on that. But, of course, Laban, being the deceptive person he is, takes all those sheep out. And we see Jacob working from kind of behind the 8 ball already. But he comes up with this wackadoo plan. I have no idea where he got that. Maybe it was from God. I don't know. What we do know is that God met him and they worked together on that crazy plan. Here's a really cool thing. I think it's cool. You may not. Okay, so Laban, which is actually pronounced Lavan in the original language, means white. It's derived from the same root word for white that Jacob uses when he says, I'm going to peel back the bark off of these sticks to reveal the white portion. And of course, we know he throws those sticks in the water, and then the sheep who mate in front of the water produce the sheep that Jacob needs to build his flocks. And so it's this really cool play on words where Laban, white, is trying to kind of get Jacob and deceive him, but Jacob uses the white, Laban, part of the stick to ensure that he gets what is deserved. And I just think that is super cool. Maybe you don't, but I'm a word person. I think that's cool. And it's just this little thing of, God's got him no matter what's coming at him. We also see God tells Jacob, I have seen the way Laban has treated you. And that's encouraging. That is encouraging, because there's so many times in life when we feel like God does not see me. I've been in this season forever and God does not see me. And that is just not true. It's not true. God always sees, and God is always working. And he's bringing fruit, and he's bringing blessing out of those really hard seasons. If you look at this, Jacob was in a hard season for 20 years. Now, that doesn't mean our hard seasons will last that long, but if they do, we see that this is where God produces the fruit. This is where God produces a new trusting relationship through Jacob. Jacob has a new trusting relationship with the Lord. You're beginning to see that. And he's got physical blessings as well. And so there's this truth that in those hard seasons that are so difficult for us, God is blessing, and he does see, and he is moving no matter what we think and no matter what we perceive. So my encouragement to us is to just stick with him. Don't run from him. Run to him in our hard seasons, because he's blessing and he's producing fruit. And then so we see this unlikely person of Jacob is now blessed, and he's now returning home with the fruit that he got out of his really hard season. I love that. None of our hard seasons are for nothing. When we go through a hard season, God brings good out of it. That's Romans 8:28, I believe. Okay, so tomorrow is January 13th, so we will talk about the January 12th reading, which is Genesis 32 and 33 and 34, and 35. That is January 12th's reading, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.